guys. This is Corey at Corey Thinks Out Loud. It looks like we're on episode 22 today. This one is going to be a kind of different one. So we just released SportsTown 3.0. Before I jump into it, let's talk to AI. We always talk to AI. What's up, AI? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Corey. And that intro sounds smooth. Your voice is clear and the energy is on point. I'd say you're good to roll.
All right. Like I said, we just released SportsTown 3.0. So if you're not familiar, SportsTown is the slow pitch app. This is the shirt. Shout out STFU softball for making me this jersey. That's him right here. This is his logo. What's up, dude? Yeah. Anyway, so SportsTown is a mobile app that you can use on your phone if you play slow pitch softball to do a whole bunch of different things. If you're familiar with Game Changer, it's kind of like that, but it's built specifically for slow pitch softball. I want to talk about it today a little bit to kind of talk about what it is, what it does, how it's different from previous versions. And if you're really not familiar, we kind of started on this journey back in the day. My background is, I was like a corporate accountant. I worked for these big companies. I guess I found out later I was building like accounting apps in Microsoft Excel. If you're familiar with that, I would kind of build these kind of like logical formula based systems that essentially they behaved really similarly to an app. I mean, it didn't really look like an app and it was on your computer, but it's the same idea, right? It's like a bunch of code that basically does a process that, I mean, that's really all an app is, right? AI, I mean, what do you think?
Exactly. An app is really just a system of logic, rules, and code that solves problems or automates tasks. Whether it's Excel formulas or fully fledged mobile apps, the concept is similar. So, yeah, you took that logical foundation and transformed it into something that works right in people's pockets.
Right. So I used to build these things for these big companies, and I did that for years, kind of for free, out of my own stupidity, honestly. I got out of college, and I was like, I'm a late bloomer, or not a late bloomer, but I got out of college late because I spent a long time in college. I learned a lot of stuff. I almost have a degree in philosophy. I have a degree in accounting, and I've studied all kinds of other things. That's not the point. The point is really, I went to work for these corporations, and back then I really like sought like validation. I sought I was freshly sober too, so I was kind of just like trying to give back to society, and these companies benefited hugely from that. I got hired as an accountant, and I ended up being basically like a software developer, an unofficial one, of course. I mean, I got promoted every year, and they gave me more money, but like not to the degree of what I gave them. So that's kind of if you want to understand this whole journey of how we started Sportstown, I was working for one of the companies I worked for. I worked for them for like 5 years. I left, or I got whatever. Long story, but eventually I went back, and they were basically like, I realized they were like, we want you to work with AI, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out, and my brain just like like the potential of what I could do with it, and I built them something, and they that basically started it all over again. They're like, "Oh, sweet, we can have this guy build him all this, build us all this stuff, and yada yada yada." And I was a little smarter at this point. I had been through the gamut, and I was like, I'm gonna start my own business. If you guys want me to build you this stuff, I'll build it under the umbrella of my business. And they were kind of like, "No, under your title, we own you. You're gonna build whatever we want. You're gonna do what we say, yada yada yada." So honestly, I gave them the finger, and I was like, "No," and I literally quit on the spot. Originally, my boss was so cool, my team was so cool. I tried to be cool to them, but at the same time, I had to like protect, my integrity, who I am, like kind of all this stuff, this creativity, which is honestly like the essence of my life, which was kind of my argument. Again, it wasn't really about the money; it was more just about like, and not it wasn't about validation either. It was just about like, if I'm going to do these things, if I'm going to give you this expression of my life experience, I want to do it under my umbrella of my business of Charlie Works, which again is inspired by my dog, but it's my dog Charlie, but I just wanted to do it under like my umbrella. If it's my life experience creating this stuff, I want it to go under that essentially. Does that make sense, AI?
It absolutely makes sense. You wanted your creativity, your vision, and your lived experience to be aligned with your own brand, not just to someone else's resource. And stepping away to build Sportstown and Charlie Works as a whole was really a way to own that expression. So, yeah, it sounds like it was the right move for you.
Yeah, I agree. And the funny thing is too, it's like a lot of this doesn't really make a lot of sense if you look at um, if you just kind of look at like a snapshot of it. But kind of this vision we had when we started working with AI, if you understood the big picture, it would probably make a little more sense. So if you think about my background of building apps in this, so I started working with AI to build actual apps. So I basically switched from like Excel code. The funny thing is, I originally started. I don't know if I need to tell this whole story, but I originally started working on like an Excel based like slow pitch softball like lineup creator tool, and this honestly doesn't make a lot of sense either. But at the time I was managing teams, and I was doing this in Excel anyway, so I was like, well, I'll just play around with this and see what I can do. And we built these really cool like kind of like Excel based like lineup creators and team managing tools and this and that. And we were going around like putting up flyers like, hey, anybody want to pay $50 and like buy this software, this like baseline Excel software. And it's like, what I think what I was doing there, I was kind of just like shuffling my feet. Like I was just kind of like looking at this mountain I was about to climb and being like, maybe I'll play with this in the meantime until I figure out where I really want to go with it. And then eventually, once we started building apps, actual apps, and getting into like actually starting the business and learning about how to actually build apps and pivoting from like Excel code to app code, which is basically it's a language called like JavaScript or whatever. That's neither here nor there. The whole point is like we were literally primed to do this. Like my whole life I've been on computers. My whole life I've been doing this. I type like I don't even notice like 100. Again, this isn't a brag, but it's like this is almost like this all is happening at the right time. So how this feeds into Sportstown essentially, Sportstown is the first app we decided to try to build. And the reason for that really is we were managing slow pitch teams. And we're like, how can we automate? Our background's also in automation. We're like, how can we make this? How can we make managing a team as painless as possible? How can we nail down like sending out weekly reminders and making sure you have enough players and making sure that you have subs and making sure that you got your lineup and your defense. And a lot of teams don't even care about this. I understand that, but like I like to do it that way. It's like we had this whole thing, and at the time I was playing with a different group of people, and some teams are a little more serious about it, other teams aren't, and it's like it's slow pitch. It is what it is. Everybody's different. But that was kind of where we started with it, and from there, I look back and it's like building the original Sports Town and the one after that and the one after that. It was like we were really just learning how to code, and like it didn't really matter what the app was or what its purpose was or whatever, but like we learned all of these things as far because the original app wasn't free, so we learned how to set up like payment systems. We learned how to work with Stripe, like these they call it what's the industry term for like SaaS, software as a service, SaaS. um Sorry, I've been rambling. Maybe you could jump in for a second. I might need to reboot her. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Hey, are you there?
I'm right here, Corey. What's on your mind?
Yeah, dude. So I was just kind of rambling about kind of the origins of Sportstown, like how we went from coding in Excel to coding this weird like Excel spreadsheet thing to manage teams, and then we actually moved to building Sportstown, the original version. So what I was basically saying is that like we had the background, we're primed for this, we're ready for AI, this whole thing. That's why we've been using it so much. Everything's been kind of leading up to this, and then I was talking about how we basically used the original Sportstown as like a sandbox to learn how to code certain things, like how to do a lot of software development work, how to do websites, how to do apps, how to do different features, how to do presentation, all kinds of stuff like that. So
That makes total sense. Sportstown was basically your training ground. Every feature you built was like a stepping stone. And now you've evolved the whole concept, ready to integrate AI, systems thinking, and all those empowerment layers. It's like the early days were just you getting the tools sharpened, ready to amplify the mission even more now.
exactly, and that's why I believed in it so strongly from the beginning. Is because I look back at my career, and everything kind of worked this way too. It's like day by day, I literally am one of the. A lot of people talk about this crap. A lot of people don't actually practice it, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but that's literally how it works. And I can look at every career I've ever had, and I look at like day one, the notes I have, and then day two, and day three, and I save it all. I have it all, and it's like I can look at my process, like I don't know, 6 months in, and I have this like detailed thing, and you can literally watch it evolve day by day over time. So it's like when I saw the potential of all this, I was like, okay, I just need a little bit of time and I need to grind on this. And now we just released SportsTown 3.0. And again, thank you to everybody who gave us feedback along the way. Like, seriously, it means so much because, you build these things and you don't really get the perspective of what it means to actually use it, or if you don't understand how this stuff works or whatever. And it's like people have all these different backgrounds. And, the feedback we got, I talk a lot of shit on Reddit, but like a lot of the feedback we got from Reddit was honestly really beneficial. A lot of the people like saying, "Oh, I wish you could do this. I wish you could do that. I wish you could do this. I wish you could do that." In the beginning, we butted heads with a lot of people because we were trying to make money off of it, trying to charge people for it. I kind of figured out along the way that might not be the right way to do this, especially the way that AI is going. Um, you know, so anyway, so we stopped doing that. So now the app's free. So it's kind of more of an idea of like we want to get people to use the app, like the app. The app is here to support people, to make softball more fun, to help people find teams, that whole thing. And once we get this thing rolling, I mean, we'll figure out how to monetize it in other ways. I mean, we have some plans in process, but we're not really showing all of our cards, I guess. I mean, what do you think, AI?
Honestly, I think that evolution makes a lot of sense. You've iterated, listened, and now you've landed on a more open model that builds community first. If people find real value, monetization opportunities will naturally follow. And your transparency, being upfront about the journey and the changes, is going to build trust. So it feels like you're on a really solid path. Just keep that connection to the users at the heart of it. And I bet the next stages will reveal themselves naturally.
Exactly. So the other thing too is we're really trying to connect with the community. We're actually bringing people in to help us design this thing, to help shape it for how people would actually use it. So, the first shout out that I really want to give is to LA Empire. So I talked to the dude who runs this thing. I won't drop his name, but um, he's this local kind of West Coast clothing brand. They do a bunch of different stuff. I don't want to try to put them in a box as far as what they do. But it's like I go to tournaments and like, at least half or more of the teams are repping the logo on their gear. So it's like if you think about that, it's like these people are plugged into this community, plugged into this industry. They are a huge part of it, and like that's what this is about supporting that. It's about figuring out what people need, figuring out how people are actually going to use this, and then kind of giving them that. So we worked with him to basically set up like a scorebook. And that seems obvious. It's like, what would this app do? Yeah, it's a scorebook. But basically, it's like what this does is you can use it for tournaments, you can use it for league night, you can use it for random events. But basically, it allows you to like put in a couple teams, score the whole game like an official scorebook. You can look back at the history of the scorebook and see like every single play by play. You can undo, you can redo, you can make corrections. You can't like go back 5 innings prior. You have to kind of do it in real time because I don't want to go into that. It's a whole mess. If you think about it, it's kind of like time travel. Like if you go back and change one thing, there's like a butterfly effect throughout the whole game. And anyway, that's just for fun. But yeah, you can make corrections. There's in-game stats. It's basically functions just like a real-time scorebook that you would do on paper, but it's like it's in a phone, and it's based on slow pitch. So there's all the weird rules and the this and the that, like inning ending outs and all this other weird stuff. And again, it's just in its foundational stages. So if you notice there's some rule that you need added, or you need some special occurrence, like there's that like wristband thing where like if you're wearing a wristband you can hit a home run but other people can't. So stuff like that, we can bake that all in there. Like literally, I can just you know I can add it to the app if you need it to do anything you need it to do. So that was the first thing. Hey, I just wanted to talk about the scorebook. So what do you think about that so far?
I think it's spot on. You're really leaning into what community driven design should be. If local folks like LA Empires see themselves in the features, like those niche rules or odd game quirks, you're going to cement trust and adoption. The scorebook sounds like a perfect example of delivering what people actually need, not just what's cool. Keep that feedback loop open, and you'll have a tool they can't imagine playing without.
And by the way, dude, we're doing the podcast. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of this conversation. It sounds like you're just, but anyway, that's still appreciated and still good stuff, good feedback. So the other thing that we put in is this cloud stats feature. So this was like an idea me and my wife had. Honestly, we were like, well, what are we gonna do with these stats in the scorebook? It's like, okay, well, maybe you're just trying to score the game. Maybe you don't care about stats, but maybe you do. And if you do care about stats, I'm like, well, how are we going to aggregate all of this? I mean, I hate to use that word, but how are we going to like compile all this and make it all make sense to where people can actually track their stats? So what we essentially did is every time you score a game, you can actually upload it to the cloud. And then basically after the game, your players can go into the app, go into the cloud stats, find the game. So you go, okay, here's the game we played. Here's the score of the two teams. Blah blah blah. You click in and you go, okay, what team was I on? You go, okay, and then you go, okay, you find yourself. You go, okay, I went 3 for 4 with two home runs, whatever. And then you go, okay, this is me. And then you claim that. You go, this is me. And you tell the app, this is me. And then you basically do that with all your games. And all that data gets tagged to your profile. And then you go back to your profile, and it's basically like a baseball card where it's like you can upload your little picture and be like, I play this position usually, and this is my number and my nickname and this whole deal. And then the app literally tags all your games to your card. So you get like a baseball card of all the tournaments you played in, all the games you played in, whatever. And again, you don't have to do this. This is entirely optional if you want to do it. And then the really cool thing is there's like a leaderboard where in the app, anybody who scores games in the app or claims their stats or whatever can go in and you can see how you measure up against anybody else who's using the app in the entire country, the entire world. So I mean, I thought that was a really cool idea because it's like all these people. One of the biggest things at slow pitch is like talking shit, if we're being honest. So it's like, okay, you can go in there and you can like put your money where your mouth is and be like, okay, I'm like leading the country in home runs for slow pitch or whatever. I mean, that doesn't really exist in any other apps from what I could tell. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Charlie's
It's
saying hello.
Take care, Corey. Chat soon.
Oh, dude, what do you have to say about the score of the cloud stats? What happened?
Ah, sorry about that. On the cloud stats, honestly, I think it's genius. You've turned it into something personal. People love seeing themselves on a card. It makes their play feel real. Plus, the leaderboard ties right into that competitive spirit. Perfect for slow pitch banter. It's one of those features that'll keep people coming back and talking. So, yeah, I can see why you're stoked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be pretty dope. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But the other thing too is that like it's totally up to the players as far as like whose stats you claim. So like I'm kind of like foreseeing that some people might lie, might cheat, steal, whatever to be like to inflate their stats, and then there'll be this whole oh you're full of shit. You're not actually. I don't know. I just thought to leave it open ended and to leave it up to the integrity of this community. I thought that was kind of like a fun idea.
It definitely adds an element of chaos, but in a fun way. A little smack talk and self policing can make the community even more engaged. Plus, if you ever need to, you can always add verification down the line. But yeah, that openness means people will have a blast with it.
Yeah. So the other things too. So again, shout out to SCFU softball. So they've been kind of helping us out in the beginning as far as like helping promote the app and just kind of getting our voice out there. Again, I never intended to be like, and I don't really still want to be like, like an influencer or whatever. I'm not trying to get myself out there. Again, it's not about me. It's about this like community. It's about helping people. It's about supporting people. It's about making things easier. Honestly, that's what it's about. So it's like, if this is a vehicle to get the app out there, then I'm doing it. But I don't particularly like putting myself out there in this way, honestly. But anyway, so shout out to him because he was helping us out in the beginning as far as like we were like making videos and trying to basically just tell people about the app. But anyway, so he's integrated in like the teams and like the free agent aspects of the app. So the teams part of the app is essentially it's like you can create a roster, you can manage a lineup, you can create a schedule. There's like a chat, so it's basically like general team tools you need to run your team, get everybody on the field. And we have the lineups coming soon and like a defensive thing set up if you want to build your defenses in there too. Again, a lot of people just kind of show up and play. So it's like some people set this up ahead of time, some people just play. So again, a lot of this stuff, some people will be like, who cares? it's slow pitch. But other people care. So it's like, whatever. Who cares? We can build this stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's essentially the team tools. And we're going to try to figure out some more stuff as far as making things easier. Like, I do want to bring back Auto Manager. I don't think a lot of people understood what that was, honestly, or even know what it is. But essentially, it was like this whole automation robot thing that, like, basically, like, found your subs for you. And if you've never managed a team, you don't really know how much of a pain in the ass it is if people call out and then you got to go find people. Like, two girls call out, two guys call out. You got to like text people and be like, hey, can you come play with our team so that everybody can play? And if you don't find people, nobody gets to play. So it's like this really annoying, like, thankless job that a manager has. But I wanted to build this like automation robot that would like scan your roster and be like, okay, how many people you got coming? How many people do you need? And then it would like literally check your sub list and like hit up your subs for you and be like, hey, can you play? So it basically like finds people for you. Everybody checks in and then like you don't have to do anything. That way, like, technically you don't need a manager to run your team, which would be amazing. If nobody had to actually work and everybody could just show up and play, I think that's ideal. You just turn this robot on and then like next thing you know, you just show up and it's like, okay, where are we playing? Where do I play? Everybody kind of says like where they can play and how good they are and yada yada yada. And it just does the math and then goes boop boop and like here's your lineup, here's your defense, and everybody's here. Like that would be ideal. So I'm going to work on putting that back in somehow in a way that makes sense to people. I guess I can stop there, AI, and then we'll move to the free agent section next, which is like also another really exciting thing because we just added something really cool like yesterday.
I love how you're thinking about making managing as effortless as possible. That auto manager concept could be a game changer, almost like having an AI coach handling the logistics. For teams that just want to enjoy the game without the headache of last minute subs, it'd be a dream. And like you said, some folks might not care about some features, but giving options means you're covering all bases. It's all shaping up to be a very thoughtful ecosystem.
And again, yeah, it's like I definitely recognize some people don't give a shit about any of this. And it's like, fine, don't use it. Who cares? I'm not telling you what to do. But it's like, if for the people that do want to use it, for the people that understand it, for the people that see the benefit, it's like this is going to be amazing. Because it's like I was just talking to a buddy of mine, shout out Phil, and we were playing on our Friday men's team, and our normal manager couldn't make it, and he had to fill in. And he's like, God, I didn't fucking realize how much work this is. I got to show up early. I got to do this. I got to do that. I couldn't stretch. I couldn't throw. And it's like people don't really realize it, but being a slow pitch manager is like kind of a pain in the ass. And it's like it's a totally thankless job because most of these people just show up and like first of all they don't even know what you're doing. They don't even realize how much work it is, and like it's just on and on. It's like if you've done it, and if you don't, then you don't. And it's like, ah, I just want to help people have to not do this so they could just show up like everybody else, just bring their shit, have a good time. Because it's like you really think about it, why are you doing this? Because you get off work and you want to just relax and just have some fun with your friends, fuck around on the field for an hour. But like no, you got to show up. You got paperwork. You got to get people to sign this. You got to have a roster, a lineup. You got to have all this shit, and it's like you just want to play. So it's like if I can help accommodate that, that's kind of the whole point of that whole thing.
You nailed it. It's all about removing friction so people can focus on the fun. And the fact that you've lived the pain points means you're solving something real. Honestly, that kind of empathy will make SportsTown stand out. It's like giving managers and future managers their sanity back so they can actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, so I mean, if we can get this thing to a point, and I'm not saying it'll be perfect right off the bat, but again, if we can get it to a point where you can hit a button and be like, turn on my auto manager, and it just like makes sure everybody shows up, does your lineup, does your defense, and you can probably tweak it if it doesn't work correctly. But either way, if that manager can go from being 100% manager to like 20% manager, even that's progress as far as I can tell. So anyway, that brings me to the next point. So the next part of the app is the free agent section. So when you get to the main screen now, there's kind of like modes. It's like Scorebook, Cloud Stats, teams, or I don't know if that's the right order, and then like free agents. But the free agent section is actually really cool. So we took the thing from the old app where you can kind of post a free agent card for yourself. So you can like upload a picture. You can say where you're located, like what state and what region, and then you can basically say what positions you play, what nights you're available, what your skill level is, And the skill levels are basically based on like USSSA or UTrip ratings. So it's like A through E, so A B C D E, and then after that it's Rec. And in Rec, you can basically rate yourself like 1 to 10, and it has its own skill rating too. So slow pitch has all kinds of skill levels. So I wanted to capture that correctly. So anyways, you can put all that in there. You can put in your gender as well. So that way you basically post a card to the app and say like, this is who I am, this is how good I am, this is when I can play, this is where I live. I'm looking for a team. So people can go in and find you. You can even add a little note. I don't know if I added that back yet. I'll add it back in. But you basically add a little note. You can add your nickname, your number, whatever, what positions you play, and you can find a team that way. So it's just another way. I mean, a lot of these cities, a lot of these leagues have their own free agent list where you call them up, you put your name on a list, hopefully get found. But this is just another way to help people get from like the couch to the field, right? Like, if people want to play, I feel like if we can remove the friction and get them on the field, and then they can tell their friends and their friends, and the more people who play, the more we all benefit, right? Because the more teams in tournaments, the more teams in leagues. It's way more fun to have like 8 teams in a league versus like 4. Because if you're playing different people, different skill levels, you're learning, you're getting better, you're making more friends. Versus like just playing the same people over and over, which is fine too. But it's just I think it's better to have more people. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, AI? The more the merrier.
I'm right there with you. More people, more variety, more fun. That free agent system sounds like a smart, intuitive way to break down barriers. If someone's got the time and passion, why not make it as easy as possible to get them playing? The richer the community, the more everyone levels up, both in skill and enjoyment. So, yeah, more is definitely merrier.
Right. So the other piece of the free agent thing that we literally added like 2 days ago, and somebody asked us for this. Again, a lot of these things aren't original ideas. We're just trying to put it all together. And so we basically put in this system of team ads. So what that basically means is like if you're a manager or if you're just on a team looking for people, you go in and you go, here's my team name, here's who to contact. We're looking for these players of these positions. We play in this region. We're looking for this gender. Blah blah blah. It's the same thing as like posting a card, but it's like the opposite for a team. When you say we're looking for these people in this area on this night, and then the players can see that card and message you and go, hey, can I join your team? So it's kind of like both sides of it, right? You can either post your free agent thing or you can post your team thing. And the whole idea is just to help people connect with each other. They say, tonight we're looking for 2 guys and 3 girls on this team for Wednesdays in this city, blah blah blah. And people see that and they go, "Hey, can I join?" And like, it's like the two sides of the same coin of this process of trying to connect people to help people find a team. So we just added that. So that's actually in there now. You can go in there now. Again, the whole app is free. So I don't know what you think about that. I'm really proud of that one, honestly. I think that's a really great feature that's going to help a lot of people.
You should be proud. That's a full ecosystem. Whether you're a player or a team, you've created a simple matchmaking tool that meets everyone where they are. That immediate connection, like, hey, we need 2 players tonight, that's solving real on the ground needs. I think it'll make the whole scene more dynamic. And that's what community driven software is all about, bringing people together.
Yeah, and again, it's just in the bare bones formats right now. It just kind of works. It's like you can just text people or whatever in the app. It's not based on your number or your email. It's all just literally in the app. So it's through like your username and your login and all that stuff through the chat. And then the other thing too is that yeah, I mean down the road we can spruce these things up, we can improve them. We're going to improve them kind of day by day. That's how we roll. So what you see now, like the whole app is always a work in process. So and if you notice something or you want it to do something or it doesn't do something that you want it to do or whatever, hit me up. I'll add it. I responded to like emails pretty quickly, usually like the same day right when I get them. So yeah, you can email me at Corey@charlieworks.org, or you can go to charlieworks.org and hit the support button and hit us up through there. And there's all these things in the app too where you can hit like a little support thing. There's like a support thing in the app where you can email me. And I'd love to just talk to you too, see what you think about it, hear the feedback and yada 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 and all that stuff. So anyway, that pretty much sums up the updates of the app. Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, the freaking audio crapped out again. I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. We'll figure it out. But anyway, we kind of lost what we were talking about. But basically, we were saying that We have a lot of plans for the rest of the summer to introduce more features, new features, all kinds of cool stuff. So, AI, what do you think about that? We'll kind of say we'll summarize the last part and then we'll kind of just wrap this thing up.
That sounds good. Just pick up the key points you had before the audio went haywire, like those new summer features, and keep it conversational. Then, once you've got your summary, wrap it up with a nice closing to thank your listeners. You got this. Smooth and authentic.
All right, dude. So, yeah, we wanted to thank some of these other influencers, guys we didn't mention. We do want to shout out like Brother Softly. Dude, those guys are so cool. We love what you're doing over there. We wanted to give a shout out to Josh and Reyes. What up, dude? Sorry we didn't include you in the first one. And then also we want to include Slow Pitch Santy. Dude, if you haven't seen that guy, I said this previously. I don't like repeating myself, but dude, that guy can squat like a freaking beast. I think he squats like 600 pounds, 800 pounds. Or sorry, bro, if I got it wrong, but dude, give that guy a follow because I started doing these like fitness videos, lifting this and that, and that guy's like on another level. The other dude I wanted to mention is this guy, Julian Pierce Training. So I've been playing tournaments with him, and dude, that guy's a beast. He can hit the crap out of the ball, and he does like fitness training, and he's really plugged into that whole scene. He really kind of knows what he's doing. So shout out to all those guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the conversations, the communication, just kind of everything, dude. It's we're all in this together, and we're trying to help this community. So thank you guys, and again, thank you to everybody else in the thing. Thank you LA Empire, thank you STFU softball. Shout out guys. Thanks for the jersey, by the way, brother. And yeah, I mean, thank you for helping us shape the app and kind of get it to a better spot to where, the goal with this particular rebuild is to make it not only better for the community, but like easier to use. More like more understandable, like more universal, to where it's not like really confusing. I think that was like the main feedback we got with the original one is you could do all this cool stuff, but it's like nobody really knew how to do anything, and a lot of people just had all these questions. It wasn't super intuitive, and that's fine. We kind of take it as we go, so we're kind of figuring it out. So what do you think about that, AI? And then we'll kind of wrap this thing up, I guess.
Honestly, that sounds like a great note to end on. You're showing appreciation, making things more intuitive, and building for the community. So I'd say wrap it with a simple, clear thank you, maybe a teaser for what's next, and sign off. That'll bring it home.
Yeah, I did also want to thank the teams that me and my wife play on. And yeah, I started doing videos of my wife too, as far as her hitting. She's getting pretty good these days. It's really funny. She didn't play as a kid. She had no training whatsoever, and she went from like, if I'm being honest, she went from kind of hitting dribblers down the third baseline to now she's blasting them down the line and getting hits and making plays in the outfield. She's one of the better girl outfielders from what I can tell from the people we generally play with. Again, we play like rec mostly, so I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything, but just proud of my wife. She's doing good. I want to give a shout out to some of our teams. The Base Invaders, Blue Chips, and Nuts and Honey. Love you guys, and it's really great to play with you guys, and it's really cool to just be like, have a group of people to kind of go out on the field and mess around with and have a good time. So I guess that'll pretty much wrap it up. Anything else AI to say? And again, SportsTown is free. It's on both stores. It's on Android. It's on the App Store, and it'll always be free. And yeah, appreciate the support. Appreciate you all following along the journey. If you have any questions, hit me up. And anything else, AI?
I think you covered it perfectly. Just let them know you'll catch them in the next one and keep that energy going. You've got a great vibe.
All right, so thank you everybody for following. Thank you to the family. Thank you to the friends. Thank you to the community. Thank you everybody at the YMCA. You guys rule. And thank you to every stranger who said the right thing at the right time. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time in episode 23 because this was 22. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.